Hey fam, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to provide you with a sample answer to the following interview question. How would you improve your favorite product? If you are looking to transition into a product management role or preparing for interviews, then this video is for you. Over the next few minutes, we will cover a framework to help you answer this question in a structured manner. In doing so, it will demonstrate to your interviewer that you have good product sense, a clear thought process, and that you're able to problem solve on the spot, which are three crucial skills for product managers. Big shout out to Diego Granados, a fellow PM, for putting together the amazing framework that we'll be using today that is both straightforward and easy to follow. Before we start, I'd like to welcome those who are new to our channel. My name is Dante, I'm a product manager, and I have experience working at Facebook, Airbnb, Accenture, and WePay. In this channel, Itzel and I share practical advice and knowledge to help you enter and thrive in the tech industry. Now let's jump right in. If you haven't seen the first part of our PM interview prep series, where we cover how to best answer the classic product management interview question of what is your favorite product and why, linked here, make sure to check it out. Alright, for today's exercise, let's assume that we're the product manager of the popular Times feature in Google Maps. The first step after being asked, how would you improve this product, is to ask your interviewer, can I have a few seconds to jot down my thoughts? The second step in the framework is to identify constraints. Ask your interviewer, for this exercise, do we have any time or resource constraints that I need to be aware of? Let's assume your interviewer says that you have a fully staffed team of engineers and designers that you can collaborate with to improve this feature. Let's also assume that there are no timeline constraints, meaning that there are no critical deadlines that we have to meet. Note that during interviews, the interviewer may throw you a curveball and provide constraints such as having a limited engineering staff if you're interviewing for startups, having to deliver a product in a few months, or instead of building upon an existing product, they may ask you to design a product from scratch. By asking this constraint question, it will help you to narrow down on your approach. The third step is to set a goal for the product. Some common goals include increasing revenue, improving user satisfaction, and reducing churn rate, or in other words, increasing retention and engagement. For this third step, you can say, I'd like to set a goal for the product so that we can work backwards to meet that goal. Since Popular Times is an existing feature in Google Maps, I think that increasing user adoption is a good goal for us, because this will also help drive user engagement and retention. Does this work for you, or do you have another goal in mind? Pro tip: I highly recommend that you check in with your interviewer as you answer this question. You can say the following before jumping into the next step of this framework. Before I dive in, do you have any questions? Or how does this sound so far? Moving on to the fourth step, which is defining the scope. Given that Google Maps has many features and that it is accessible across many surfaces such as mobile and desktop, it is important to define what is in scope. You can let your interview know what scope you will be focusing on by saying, for this exercise, I will focus on improving the mobile experience of Popular Times, given that several trends point to people spending more time on their smartphones every year due to the proliferation of social media and other apps. In fact, research demonstrates that people are spending more than 5 hours per day on their smartphones. How does this sound? The fifth step is to discuss the competitive landscape. You can use the following transitional phrase to move on to this step. Now that we have clarified the constraints, established a product goal, and defined the scope, let's talk about the competitor products. When compared to other similar products such as Yelp, Apple Maps, or TripAdvisor, these three competitor products provide hours of operation for a given location, as well as reviews on what people have to say about that location. But there is no simple interface to answer the question, when is the best time to go to a specific location and avoid long wait lines? An advantage of Popular Times is that it uses Google's aggregated and anonymized user location data to solve the problem of determining how busy a location is in real time. The sixth step is to create user profiles and to define our target user. Make sure to ask your interviewer for some time to think through and create user profiles. You can say, can I have 1 to 2 minutes to write down my thoughts? As Diego Granados suggests, you can bucket users into the following broad categories and then mix and match. The first bucket is life stages, which is composed of kids, young adults, adults, and the elderly. The second bucket is occupation, which is made up of students, working professionals, and those who are retired or stay at home. The third bucket is frequent activities, which includes the frequent gym user, travelers, and those who like to be outdoors. Once you are done writing down your thoughts, you can say, I'm still finishing my list of users, but let me tell you what I'm thinking about for different segments that we should target for improving Popular Times. I broke out the user segments based on certain characteristics. The first user profile are young adults who are college students. The second are parents who are working professionals. And the third are elderly folks who are retired. Before moving on to the next section, out of these three potential groups, I believe believe we should target young adults who are college students because it represents the largest market share for our product with high customer lifetime value. And since our goal is to increase user adoption for Popular Times, I think it makes more sense to go after this segment. Does that work for you, or do you prefer we go after another segment? Once your interviewer gives you the green light, you can move on. The seventh step is to think about use cases, which are commonly known as user pain points. You can tell your interviewer, now that we have defined our target user, can I have a few minutes to think through a couple of use cases or user pain points? Generally, it's a good idea to take 1 to 2 minutes to write down your thoughts. But don't leave your interviewer out of your thought process for more than that. As soon as you have some ideas, start sharing them out loud. You can say, okay, I thought about 3 use cases for this user group of young adults who are college students. The pain point we are solving for is that college students don't have the luxury to waste time waiting in line in a location due to the rigid class and study schedules. The 3 use cases that come to mind for a college student navigating a busy location using Popular Times are: number 1, as a student, I may need to pick a different time of the day to avoid long lines and crowds. Number 2, as a student, I may also need to find a different day of the week if today is too busy. And finally, number 3, as a student, I may need to find a different location that may not be as busy. Those are the 3 use cases. How do they sound to you? Does it sound like we can move forward with thinking through some solutions? The 8th step is to come up with solutions to solve our user pain points. Ask your interviewer, can I have a minute to jot down my thoughts? You can mention the solutions you came up with by saying, I thought about 3 potential solutions for our target group of young adults who are college students. The first solution is to create a recommendation engine that suggests to college students what are the nearby locations that offer the same type of service or food that have a shorter wait time. This will solve the 3rd pain point of identifying a different location. The second solution is to add a new feature in Popular Times that displays the best time to go during a given week. As an example, the best time to visit this location is on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. so that it takes away the guessing work and manual scrolling from college students. This would also solve for the first 2 pain points of streamlining when is the best time to go to a specific location. The 3rd solution is to leverage Google Calendar, given that it is another Google product, and integrate it with Popular Times so that students can click a button to schedule times that are not too busy to meet up with friends for food and other activities. If you are learning something new, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Moving on to the 9th step of our framework, which is to prioritize our solutions. Say to your interviewer, now that we have our 3 solutions, the next step is to prioritize which one we want to implement. Before I prioritize, I will recap our core user, which are young adults who are college students, and our goal, which is increasing user adoption. The 2 criteria I will be using to analyze each solution is the level of effort to implement and customer impact. When I think about the first idea of adding a recommendation engine to Popular Times, it will provide immediate value to our users because if a location's wait time is too long, it will give users suggestions for similar and nearby services that are not as busy. And this will meet the goal of increasing user adoption. In terms of level effort, this idea will require more work than the second idea, but less than the third idea, assuming Google already has the data available for recommending similar services in a given radius. For example, recommending nearby Mexican food restaurants, local gyms, and other parks in the area. When I think about the second idea, in terms of our goal of increasing customer adoption, knowing when is the best time of the week to visit a particular location will drive more people to use Popular Times. And this solution is the lowest level of effort from the other 2 ideas, since Popular Times is already showing how busy a given location is in a given time frame. And we just need to filter the time and day of the week with the lowest wait times and display that single data point in Popular Times. In terms of the third idea, it will take the highest level of effort than the first 2 ideas because we will have a dependency on the Google Calendar team to prioritize in the roadmap for Popular Times to integrate with their services. It will also require identifying a strategy for maintaining calendar updates based on updated wait times. And this may not have a lot of impact in terms of user adoption when compared to the other 2 ideas because this is more of an enhancement to the current user experience. Based on this analysis, I will prioritize the second idea as it solves for multiple pain points for college students, helps meet our goal of increasing user adoption, and it's also the solution with the lowest level of effort. This idea will also remove the manual process of scrolling through Popular Times' bar graphs to figure out when is the best time to go to a given location. The last step, number 10, is to discuss success metrics. You can tell your interviewer, now that we have prioritized the second solution to display when is the best time in a given week to visit a location in the mobile experience, and keeping in mind that our goal is to increase user adoption, I will measure the success of this improvement by taking a look at the following 4 metrics. Number 1, time spent by users on this new feature. Number 2, daily, weekly, and monthly active users on Popular Times. Number 3, retention rate. And number 4, tracking the amount of time it takes for users to discover this new feature. This last metric can also help us identify if there are any user experience issues in how we implemented this feature. And these are just a few metrics to get us started. But if you're interested, we can talk more about different metrics. To wrap up the conversation with your interviewer, make sure to summarize the product goal, the target user, the solution you prioritize, and the success metrics. You can say, to summarize, in order to improve my favorite product, which is Popular Times on Google Maps, we started by defining the goal of increasing user adoption for young adults who are college students, who have the pain point of not having the luxury to waste time waiting in line as they have rigid class schedules. The solution we prioritize with the highest customer impact and the lowest level of effort is to display in Popular Times when is the best time during the week to visit a given location. The metrics for measuring success included time spent, daily, weekly, and monthly active users, as well as retention rate and how much time it takes for users to discover this new feature. I hope that this example helps you structure and think through how to answer other product manager interview questions. If you have any questions, feedback, or additional tips on how to best answer this question, please include it in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone whom you think can benefit from it. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you all the best in your interviews. You got this, and I'll see you in our next video.